And
We're live.
we are now live. Thank you, Will.
Live. Thank you. Thank you, Asha. Welcome everyone to this evening's FBS Chat. We have Will Reed with us tonight and Tara, who we all know and love. But Will is someone that we may not have heard of, so we're really fascinated. So I always kind of want to ask our guests, Will, how they either came across the solution focused approach, or maybe the approach was used on you and what difference it made to you.
Yeah. Well, thank you first off for having me. It's, as I've already said, it's really great to be here. But yeah, I sort of first came across SF, would have been a couple of years ago. Actually, no. Yeah, about a couple of years ago. And yeah, it was actually used on me. So I was in sixth form at the time. And I'd sort of been through some experiences in my life where I hadn't. So my first sort of thing that happened around GCSE time was I'd lost my mum to cancer. And at the time, I didn't really talk about it. It wasn't something I felt that I needed to speak about. But Susie Ingram, who some of you may well know, was the sixth form at the school, and she sort of said to me straight off the bat, you know, we're basically going to give you we're going to support you in whatever way we can, and we're always here if you need a chat. And so I sort of held that in there, didn't act on it straight away, but then I went to the sixth form and ended up coming out as gay. And that was a time when I then decided, right, I need to speak to someone. This is getting a bit too much on my head. So I went and spoke to Susie after remembering her offer that she gave to me. And Susie, unbeknownst to me at the time, was being trained in and had been trained in SF. And so she'd mentioned it to me. I vaguely remember her at the start of it saying that I'm going to be using this approach called SF on you. Is that okay? And I said, yeah, I don't quite know what that is, but go ahead. And I just remember having all the chats and the impact that had on me to be approached in a sort of empowering, respectful approach that was really looking to my own strengths. And I think that has empowered me to go on to basically share what I was given with other people and other young people to try and my Siri's going off, sorry. Go and spread that to other people. And I think with my own journey with coming out as gay, that empowering self sort of worth was really, really useful. Has really built me to basically get to the point where I say, I don't care what other people think. I'm going to keep putting myself out there to try and improve the lives of others, basically. So, yeah.
It's how I know you said that that opportunity to talk was there when you were ready for it. How important was it for you to know that there was that opportunity? Because maybe a lot of young people don't get that.
That's very true. It is so important because I think it stays with you, even though you don't necessarily need it. It is that thing at the back of your mind that pops up at the most sort of unexpected of times, and you realise, oh, hold on, I've got that little lifeline, and that can be like a sort of a glimmer of hope in the darkness kind of thing. And that I really do believe that having that kind of offer to all young people is the sort of the way that we can get forward. Obviously, it's a tough path to get to there, but making those little steps towards that in schools, I really think is a really sort of great first step towards that goal.
Yeah.
And Will, you were saying about how you felt really empowered by the solution focused conversations that you had with Susie. I'm really interested to hear how she did that. What was it that was different or useful about the solution focused approach that really enabled you to feel empowered?
I think I've thought about it a few times because I haven't necessarily actually experienced another approach, and I sort of worked in my head to see what it would have been like if I hadn't just experienced SF, what it would have been like if I had experienced another approach. But I think that if I'd gone in to speak to Susie, and she wasn't necessarily using the SF approach to sort of lead the session, I don't know whether I would have come out as soon, because I went in there talking about my feelings surrounding mum, and it wasn't until she sort of asked me, well, what would your best hopes be from our session, that I said, well, it's me coming out. And it was a bit like completely separate.
Wow.
And that's something we talk about, obviously, you know, with the SF assumptions, is that the solution might not be completely associated with the problem, so to speak. And it was definitely that case for me. So she really respectfully inquired and asked me what my best future was, and I went a completely different path, and through that we've just sort of worked together and worked through my various different bits and pieces, but in a really sort of different way than perhaps might have happened if someone had just come to sort of, you know, sort my feelings surrounding mum, kind of thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Because I guess I don't know what your assumptions were when you went into that first meeting, but maybe you thought it was going to be about, you know, talking about how this has affected me and blah blah. And when she asked you what are your best hopes from this meeting, and you said something that was not even on the script, I guess it wasn't something that kind of, whoa, what gave you the freedom to say that? Was it just that best hopes question that made you able to come out and say, do you know what, this is what I want?
Yeah, I think it is, because I think especially in the case of, you know, being LGBTQ, you're not, and closeted at that time, let's say, you're not often, nobody really gives you that opportunity to hope for that thing that you'd like. Nobody really invites you to think, well, what would life be like if you were, you know, if you were out, and nobody actually allows you, even gives you that question that allows you to look at that life, what it would be like, and really build that in your head and empower yourself towards it. And I think it was that, you know, that question, just even being able to envision that is so powerful. Because people just don't even, you don't really think about that. You don't even think about it as a possibility until you're asked about it. And that's why I think that the best hopes question, especially with, you know, the LGBTQ community, is so powerful.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. And so Will, you know, really thinking, I mean, obviously, well, you go up, you'll just tell us more about how you've gone on to, you know, to actually train in the solution focused approach as well. But sort of thinking about, you know, what you've just described and the difference that question and the solution focused approach has made to you, and the difference that you feel that it can make to communities like LGBTQ plus communities. So what else, you know, in terms of young people and marginalized communities, really interested to hear your views on that and what difference it can make.
I think so often, I don't want to have this whole sort of negative view about the world, but so often people in marginalized communities are hit with problems in life because of the way that society may judge them, and that is the way that society is. But I think for me, having that solution focus, I think you've described it before, Tara, solution focused self-talk, having that kind of solution focused mantras kind of running through your head, of your best hope and your strengths, you know, that kind of, for me, in my own experience at least, I can't speak for others, but for me, that helped me go over and sort of deal with the things that society certain members of society threw at me and still do. But knowing that I've got that strength already and nothing's going to take that away from me, I think is really powerful, by having that kind of talk with yourself in a solution focused way. And that's sort of come from having things reflected back at me, those strengths reflected back at me, and those resources, you might say, in Solution Focused.
Resources. We like that word, Tara.
Yes.
Resources. So how many? So from your sessions with Susie, you could have obviously just gone away and thought, you know what, that was really useful for me. What made you want to take it even further?
That's a good question. With one which I have not necessarily thought of before, so this will be very interesting to see what my answer is. I think I definitely like to give, I think, as a person. And I know I got that from my mum, definitely. And having the solution focused approach sort of delivered to me, if that's the way to call it, that was something that I thought, oh my goodness, this has had such an impact on me, and I want to give that to other people. And if there's any, and there's basically, it was an opportunity that was given to us as the student mental health team at school, and I thought, oh, let me give that a try, kind of thing, because that could be a way I can give back to people for the impact that it's had on me. So, at up the school, we formed a mental health team, which Susie helped to develop, and as an opportunity to that, when Tara came into the school, this is where I sort of first met Tara, we were offered, as the students, a bit of solution focused training. It's funny to us all, actually. It was such a light bulb moment, I think. It all seems so obvious to ask a lot of these questions, but until we were actually highlighted that, we didn't really know to do that. But that was then that point where I sort of thought, oh my goodness, I can sort of keep doing this and try and help others and myself through difficult times. Just having that solution focused sort of thing chugging along for me to support myself. So we were, as students, empowered then by that, by being trained, and we were having conversations between ourselves. So we had quite a stress on the support services at the school, actually, after the work that we were doing with the mental health team, and we were having these conversations between ourselves, preventative kind of conversations where we were able to talk before it got to the point of people having to come in for support and put that burden on people. And I remember one time I was having a conversation with a teacher, just because I felt so empowered by the solution focused approach, and so sort of like it wasn't invasive, it was just being there to try and help someone. I wasn't analysing them, I wasn't diagnosing them with everything, I was just there to do what I could do to help. And I had that conversation with the teacher when we were going through a difficult time, and it just, the solution focused approach being brought into the school just kind of brought us all together in so many ways, I think. And so actually, sorry, no.
No, I was just going to say, so is this where, so you, as the elder students, or the students higher up, you form this mental health team. Did you decide on this one approach? Did you all agree that, you know what, I think this is the way forward for us?
I don't know if we did, actually. I didn't think we did decide. We were kind of offered it, and we thought, yeah, why not? We'll go for that, because I think actually a lot of us had experienced it from, most of us who were in this mental health team had actually experienced an SF approach from Susie. And so we just wanted to see if we could learn a bit of that which was given to us, kind of thing. So we didn't necessarily look for other approaches, and that is something that always interests me, to actually see how other approaches work, and just be open to them. I think not necessarily. I don't know what I'm going to say here. I think just be open to them. I think, but I think for me the SF approach just sort of fit. It felt like it sort of was a neat fit, Yeah,
but it was interesting though, wasn't it? Kind of what came from that. So because empowering the students, and then it became sort of obvious about actually other things that we could do, that actually and this was very much led by you and the students, but involving you more. It happened really organically, didn't it? It kind of, you then were part of meetings with senior leaders and very, well, you can let me know, what you think, but far more included from, I think, bringing the SF training in and then noticing actually students need to be involved on a much bigger kind of sense as well in decision making.
Because I think it is just, SF, it is just inherently SF to, if you're providing a service for someone, to actually listen to what they would like and what would be useful to them, rather than just providing this and telling them, well, here we go, here's a service for you, and then it not be useful to them. So I think that was definitely what the impact was at the school. We felt more included, we felt more listened to, because of obviously the genuine listening taught in SF, and likewise it was all sort of, we came together as a community. And again, I talk about the sort of marginalised communities, as they were treated as experts in themselves, they weren't judged, they felt more included. It just brought everybody together, kind of thing.
William, I think you've already answered this question, but if you want to add anything else, so what difference does it make to you being a young person, being given the respect and an actual voice?
That's a very good question, actually.
Don't say that, because the person that wrote this is going to get a big head, William. She's going to text me now. It's Catherine Waldock, the author and blogger of Butterflies with Rainbows, and she's going to get a big head. Take it back, quick.
Well, no, I think I've forgotten what I was going to say now. I think something Tara said to me before, and it is very true. It's often young people are talked to in a way that you would never talk to an adult in a certain way, and often it can be quite surprising the way a young person is spoken to, and quite demoralising, I think. So actually being given that respect for our own views and opinions, it creates change, because we've all got our views and all our opinions and all that kind of stuff, and actually having that equal level playing field for everybody to express that is so healthy, because it just challenges opinions and goes forward to create a better future, because you're not ostracizing a certain group of people because of their age or background or whatever. You're really bringing everybody into the conversation, in the case of young people, I guess.
So who trained you guys? Who came to the school and trained you guys, Will?
Tara herself.
Oh, Tara. So what was it? And
I know he can't get rid of me.
No.
Well, no, we've just gone on to do more and more kind of stuff since, haven't we?
Yeah.
And what was it about that training that infused you even more? Because obviously you'd been through that and felt that respect of being heard and being listened to. So as you were going through the training, what else changed for you? What was so special about it? Because we know Tara's great. We've had training.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, it was delivered in such a respectful way, and actually this is the other thing I talk about, because the solution focused training is actually done in a solution focused way. It's really modeling that, and actually it's really looking to sort of it's practicing what you preach, really, and by using scales to sort of see how you're feeling about the day's work or whatever. It just we could really see it in action, and we could really see, and again, examples of it really working. And so for me, I just thought it seems silly not to use this. It seems so much like it can have such a huge impact, because it's there looking for what helps and looking for instances or exceptions and all these kind of things that I just thought they're not often talked about. And it's sort of a way to it's a paradigm shift, as many people would say, but a really good sort of way to go about just everything. And yeah, I suppose that's the other thing. It's applicable to everything. It's not just really applicable to a sort of therapeutic, even though it really works well. It can be used in, as I've sort of gone on to do different stuff and seen, it can be used in organizations, it can be used in teams, it can be used in leadership, it can just be used wherever, and everywhere it still has that same spark where it just empowers people. And I just sort of think I want to just get that up to as many young people as possible, and as many people as possible, really. So yeah.
You've done a good job there, Tara.
Oh, thanks, John.
What stood out for you? What stood out for you in Will's group, or how did Will stand out for you?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about that, and just sort of taking me back to when we delivered the training in school, and as Will's talking, I think it was that willingness and eagerness to want to be involved, to share their experiences, their stories, which had been very much sort of set up at the school with testimonial assemblies, but then from that, really wanting to just really eager to get involved. And so then to sort of follow that with solution focused approach, was just to see them, just brimming and just being able to share their wisdom, their hopes, and it wasn't us, it's coming from them, and they're just such an inspiring group of young people to work with. During their A levels, and obviously lots of change happening around that time, but just a real eagerness and willingness to support others in a really useful way, and just really open. And yeah, Will just, it's just, inspired me from the outset, really, because he manages a lot of things at once, and he's just, I just think what Will has experienced, what he hopes for, just that understanding, insight, openness to learning, is just a gift to be shared with others. And I'm really pleased that he wants to do that. And I have, in the course of the couple of years of knowing Will, I've learned so much from him. So much, it's a kind of equal playing field, which of course it is in SF anyway, and he really has made a difference to me as a practitioner and as a person. So I just and all of them, and they've continued, they're still really good friends, they continue to support each other and others, they just, and if we give young people the opportunity, give them the voice, which SF does, then this is what happens, this is what you see. So important.
And Will, we have a question from Professor Gil Green from Ohio. How do you hope to plan to use SFT in the future?
In every way possible, I guess, is my easiest answer to that. But I think my vision really is to get SF into schools, really, and actually allowing young people and people in schools that opportunity to be given some kind of SF training, or especially in the school setting, because just giving students that voice has such and leadership in a respect it just has unboundless sort of possibility kind of thing. Because as we've seen with, when Tara very kindly came in and delivered training for us, things have just come from that. And I just think that there is so many young people out there who really want to be involved in change. And I think SF is such a great tool to go around your own sort of value base, I guess, to really cause that. So yeah, I suppose my aim is to go into schools and deliver sort of talks on SF or train people up in SF, maybe if that comes to be one day. And can get it into, just get it into wherever really. And actually, what I'm trying to do is get it into, which is difficult, but I'm trying to get it into sort of, like Ofsted. I was delivering a thing to them the other day, and I was trying to drone on about SF there to try and get them listening to an actual person-centered approach and all that kind of stuff. And I tried to drone onto the Department for Education, so I'm just shouting about it whenever I can,
Yeah. Did you say Ofsted, Will?
Yeah. So that was with Boys in Mind.
They
asked us to sort of speak at a remit meeting for the Southwest, I think it was. So
So we haven't caught up about that. I'm interested to hear.
Yes.
Did you? Will at any opportunity get SF in there? So
I'm just amazed that, I mean, when Will had his first experience of it, had training with you, Tara, did he ever think at some point of his speaking to the school inspectorate? It's amazing.
It's just come so organically. That's the thing. It's all just sort of come one after another, and like I've had these amazing opportunities to speak to our MP or to just all these different things, and to speak at the Children and Young People's Mental Health Summit, and be involved with organising SFBTA's conference and UK SFP, and it's just all these things have sort of come so organically, and I've just been so happy to just kind of keep taking them in. But I've been conscious not to just keep on taking things in, because that can get a bit too much sometimes.
It's hard though, isn't it, to say no to all of those things?
Oh yeah, it is.
And what was the when you left that meeting with Ofsted, did you feel that at least you were heard? Did you feel they took anything on board, Will?
I'd like to think so. We actually got some feedback. I can't quite remember exactly what the feedback was, but it definitely felt that it started a lot of conversations. And the amazing thing about Kate Murphy, who runs Boys in Mind, is she's again which is again running an SF way, funnily enough. She's really a champion of youth leadership. So I delivered it with her, but she was putting me at the forefront. She was really giving me that stage, and I think by her doing that and by us delivering that together and showing a young person happily talking about all of these things without kind of stigma or anything, it was an example to these kind of people, and just causes conversations about bringing young people into that space where change can be heard. And it's not on a it can be done on every level. It can be done on a local level. It can be done in a small group. It can be done nationally. I think young people really need to be involved at all sort of levels, really. So
how do we do this, Will? And I'm interested to, what difference do you think delivering more SF training in schools to young people, what difference could that make, do you think, to this hope of young people taking the platform more and their voices being heard?
I think, I guess one thought off the top of my head is more young people would be shouting about it. So you're going to have that momentum of young people really saying, well, hold on a second, listen to us and making our voices heard, which is happening at the moment, for sure. But I think having that momentum of young people will just be a catalyst for change, I guess, in the start. But again, I think it would just be empowering and it would just cause the world to be a better place in a really wishy-washy way of saying it, because actually listening to people and having conversations with people, that can be brought into all kinds of situations. Really respecting people, that can be brought into all kinds of situations. That kind of value base which SF instills can just, as I said, in a wishy-washy way, make the world a better place, I think.
Not wishy-washy.
No, not at all. What is it? I think for me, when I first started using this approach, and I always thought I was a good listener before then, Will. Do you know what I mean? I thought, yeah, I'm a good listener.
Yeah.
But this is a different level altogether. What is it about SF that really makes you listen to what your clients are saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, actually. I remember the first, because I did a microanalysis course with Elfie and Dominic after Tara introduced me to both of them, and I, as part of that, had to deliver a session with Tara, and that was my first sort of session in its entirety where I thought, right, I need to listen and really let Tara lead the way here. And oh my goodness, you are just, it's a different level of being worn out after it, because don't concentrate, you really are. And you just have to really switch off the brain, which is kind of running and saying, oh, you need to say this, you need to say that. No. Ignore, kind of focus on what Tara's saying. It's just a different situation altogether, but just really makes you concentrate.
Yeah. And sorry, Tara, I was just going to say
you go.
It's really interesting you say that, because I think when people learn this approach for the first time, it's almost like, right, I've got a set list of questions to ask, and I must kind of remember to ask that. But you're saying that this training made you, because that's what we should have been doing anyway, is listening to, because we can't ask a question until we've heard the client's response, right? We have to be led by that. But sometimes when you're new to this approach, it's like, oh, I've got to ask the best hopes, I've got to ask the miracle question, I've got to ask scaling, I've got to do this. So it's interesting that you say that, because I find myself lately not so much worried about the questions, but just listening to what the client's saying.
Yeah. And I think what's brilliant about Will is, well, so many things, obviously, but is that Will did the training at school, and then, such an ongoing interest in SF, and then he came and did the Solution Focused Trainers certificate course with me, and I think there's just that real willingness again, and eagerness and hunger to have as much training opportunities as possible, and and from that, really having just again being open and eager to kind of to really understand what underpins the solution focused approach and these things about listening, and having experienced it, Will, and then having gone to the you've had a lot of training and gone on to do microanalysis, and so having experienced it and done all this training, what's really useful, do you think, about having experienced both, or what difference has that made to you?
I think it's useful to realise, actually, as Joe said, it's not a set of questions that you're asking. It's I can't remember who I heard it described as. It's a tool that sort of sits around your value base to actually ask these questions. But it's about fundamentally listening and hearing what the other person has to say, rather than asking the specific questions and all that kind of stuff. But I think the other thing is knowing that how much you think you know about the solution focused approach is never going to be everything. If it always seems like that, you think, oh, I've got it now, and then the day after someone says something and you're like, oh, I've completely forgotten. We're back to square one. I think I've heard a lot of people call it, to sort of describe it like that. And like Tara, and I think you've alluded to it already, we learn so much from the people that from the client, because if we're truly centered on what the client wants and their preferred futures, each client's going to be different. You never know the answer to a question you're going to ask. And sometimes it surprises you, and you think, oh dear, where do I go from here?
I learn something every day from the young people and the children that I work with, every single day. I just, absolutely.
So You was mentioning the UK SFBTA. What have you done with them, Will?
So UK SFP, I've become their, as I'm called, the social media guru.
Oh.
And I wouldn't necessarily call myself that. I just think I seem to have some kind of.
I think anything with guru on the end, you've cracked it.
Just take it.
But yeah, so I've been doing their social media stuff, getting all that kind of out there. And
Oh, she's back.
I can't hear you. I think
Idris Elba was calling me.
Oh, right, yeah. You got to tell him to stop stalking you. Because it's becoming a bit...
I know. Yeah. Sorry, guys. William, I could hear what you guys were saying, so I won't interrupt.
So Will is the... was it social media guru, Will, for SFBTA?
That's quite the title. It makes me sound like quite the... I wouldn't say I'm a guru, but I just do their social media stuff. Having
been on the team just before you joined, and I think I could safely say that none of us were very good at social media. So.
It's true, because that's why I'm seeing more posts.
Exactly.
At the right times of the day.
I'm very conscious about that. Yeah, 7 o'clock. Post that.
Prime time. Yeah.
I should know.
But yeah. So yeah. Oh no. Always seeing a post. But yeah. So that's what I've been doing with them. I've just been managing the social media front of things.
Sorry, I'm going to jump in because this is really important, and I'm important, and I come first. Now, Will.
Indeed.
Look at Joe. He's like, where she goes. Wouldn't it be a fantastic idea if you kept a journal of your journey through SF?
I thought about that actually.
Oh, okay.
A lot of the time. Sorry to take the complete wind out of your sails.
Shall we try that again? Wouldn't it be such a good idea, Will?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, well done. Good answer.
Yeah. That's the thing.
From your first interaction with Susie, where you went back to her, to, I don't know, you in your 40s or whatever, and you kind of have this journal, and the journey of how you've developed your practice and what difference it's made.
That's a really very good idea.
From a young person's perspective.
Exactly. And every 10 years you release a new paper or book.
Give me a little project to go on for. Yeah, no,
just fits in amongst all of the other things. You've got loads of time on your hands.
That'll be Sunday morning. Yeah, no, that's a really good idea. I think because it will be interesting to actually reflect back on the stuff. Well, it's interesting to reflect back on the things that I thought I knew about SF 2 years ago, and where I am today, and what I feel about those things that I thought I knew there was a lot of other things underneath that kind of thing. So, and as we were saying, you learn stuff new all the time. So it'd be good to sort of document that, do a history of that. Good idea. Might start that.
Will, do you want to share anything about our little breathing solution?
Yes, I can do. Yeah. Yes. So that was actually where I sort of became the social media guru, so to speak. But we set up our own, me, Tara and Jackie, a good friend of ours, who actually sort of came into our old school. That's where I met Jackie, and we sort of all got together. Jackie's a breath worker, and basically we kind of got together and thought, my Siri's going off again. Stop. We got together and just thought, the breath work that rebirthing breath work that Jackie does and SF have so many different things in common, and we were really noticing that, and so we sort of got together and just kind of over lockdown we kind of came together and formed our little group, Breathing Solutions, and we've just sort of provided solution focused breathwork sessions for people across Zoom every month, and we just kind of do it in a way that you sort of have some solution focused thoughts for the session, whether that's something like you don't have to be anybody else's perfect, I think was one of ours, and we then think about that in a solution focused way. Then we do the breathwork session and then finish off with some more solution focused reflections. But I think it was just a really nice thing to keep me going through lockdown, in my own experience. Having that connection to people, and again, being surrounded by even more SF is always lovely. But yeah, so we sort of formed that up, and we're just kind of growing and providing it to people per month, kind of thing. I don't know if you want to say anything about that, Tara.
Well, I was just going to ask, that obviously, I've been using breathwork for some years, and it was quite interesting that we kind of found that common interest. But yeah, I'm just interested in how you got into breathwork, and maybe just say a little bit about what it is, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Well, solution focused purists might sort of go, well, snub that, but I'm just going to continue going along.
Well.
Yeah, I feel it works, so I'm just going to say about it. But so I actually got into breathwork so it would have been year 9, I think. So I would have been 14, and I was doing the Duke of Edinburgh Award, and me not being a very, very sporty person, I sort of asked my mum, do you know of any sports that I can do without having to go out and sort of be sporty, me being lazy.
Yeah, that's my kind of sport too.
Yeah.
Darts.
Yeah,
Darts.
that's a good idea, that. Oh, well, I didn't do that. But yeah, so she was actually doing yoga. And so she said, I could come along to one of my yoga things with the teacher that I do, Yvonne. And so I went along to that, and I thought, yeah, why not? I'll give it a shot, see what it's like. I've always been kind of curious about it, and I did it. And I remember the little last exercise was to just sit there and breathe for I think it was even just 12 breaths or something. But immediately I got out of there and just felt that immediate sense of being in the present and stillness. And for me, that was so impactful. And so I kind of had that as a tool I could use whenever I was feeling stressed or whatever. And so when Jackie sort of came along, I thought, that's amazing. I'd love to do that, and came along. And then Tara came along, and it just was, again, organic, that we all had our own sort of passion for the different things, and we just kind of came together, really, with that. So, yeah.
My SF journey.
Yeah.
My SF journey to stillness. And you know what? I always, when we do training or whoever I talk to, I do say that really the only thing that we have any control over is the present. That's all we have. The past may have baggage and it may hold us back, but the only thing we can really affect is what we're doing now. And I get the sense that this bringing you back into that moment is really, I don't know why I came, just when you said that, it kind of reminded me of that. And talking about, I mean, I know, because I'm a bit of a dinosaur, Will, and you are, and I am so thrilled that I hope there's more young people like you carrying the torch forward. What is it that we can learn from you, and that you can learn from us? Because we might have some good ideas. I don't know.
No, you definitely do. You definitely do. Without a shadow of doubt, yeah. I think everybody I meet, I haven't necessarily met many. I don't know what sort of other sort of people in schools, young people in schools that have done SF. So I guess the way that we do it is really in our sort of everyday interactions when we meet a young person, really to treat them as an expert and respect them and listen to them and ask them what they want. That's something I think about is a surefire way to sort of involve a young person. But I think there's all these young people are out there. I know that they're out there. It's just about finding them and giving them that opportunity to hope, I guess. But yeah, I think what I can learn, I don't know what I can necessarily learn from you, but I definitely learn all of these things by speaking, just having conversations with you. And I learned so much, and I wouldn't be where I am today without the expertise of, well, definitely Tara, but all of the other people I've met along my sort of solution-focused journey, and just having different, just small chats with them, and hearing about the little thing that they've learnt today, and something that would just impact my practice or whatever. I think.
So if Insu Kim was watching over you right now, Will.
Oh, this is one of Tara's questions, isn't it?
Exactly.
I hadn't heard this one before.
Oh, go for it, Ash.
Oh, it was Tara that asked this to us, didn't she, Joe? Tara's thinking, did I? Yes, you did, Tara.
Yes, she did, Tara.
Insu Kim was watching over you now. What might she be pleased to notice about you and the journey in this new young people taking over the SF world, which is what we want?
I don't even think it's as necessarily about young people taking over. I think it's young people coming and us all sort of having that level playing field. I think it's not necessarily about young people taking over, so to speak, but I think I'd be pleased to notice that I'm blowing the horn for it at every opportunity that I can, and I've got these opportunities, and I'm not going to shut up really until more young people come into SF, and I still won't shut up then. I'll keep on talk about it. So yeah, I think just that constant drive to get people involved from all backgrounds, no matter who they are, basically. I think that would be something.
And I was, because obviously I'm from a generation where technology passed me by, Will. You'll be surprised to know. Oh no, you're thinking he don't look 60. He don't look nothing like 60. Yeah. So how can we utilise more? Because I know since lockdown we've obviously found StreamYard, we've found Zoom, we've found other ways of connecting with people. I've had to learn new skills, technology-wise, which thinking on it now, I think, wow, why didn't I look into that before? Have you got any thoughts on this technology and how it can support so many more people?
I think it can be a bit of a daunting place, I think, for like I'd never used Twitter before, and I sort of inherited the UK SMP Twitter account, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know what on earth I'm doing with this. So I can understand how kind of having this sort of technology there and you have absolutely no idea how it works can be quite daunting. But I think like Instagram is one that a lot of young people use, that I try and get stuff out on there. I know FBS does as well. I've seen it on there, and I think that's one.
It's actually one of the author of Butterflies with Rainbows actually manages the Instagram account.
Does he?
Because I'm not good with Instagram, so I do what I usually do. You're good with Insta. This is my password.
Good idea.
Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, I'm okay. Insta, I just don't get it. So instead of learning, I just passed it on to someone else.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, well, just building on what you were asking, Joe, I just am thinking about this sort of social media and this hope to get more young people involved. You know, I think this is something that each of us are really passionate about. And, you know, going into schools, we're doing, but I'm just thinking what could come from this conversation, you know, thinking about this hope for more young people involved, tech, social media guru, and our sort of, you know, combined passion. I don't know whether I've got this kind of vision of, you know, setting up a page or a group or an Insta or something specifically about young people's. And it's not about, like I say, it's not about sort of segregating. It's not about separating or them taking over, but just, I don't know, is there something in sort of setting up something very specific? I don't know what your thoughts are.
It's really funny that you mentioned that, because as you said, what can we think about doing from this? I thought of exactly that idea.
We're always on the same page.
We always think alike, aren't we? It's spooky, this.
Great minds.
Yeah, great minds indeed. But I think, it's about not segregating, it's about amplifying. And this is the thing with so much that's going on now. It's not about we're dragging other people down. It's about we're amplifying marginalized voices to bring them up to the level that, people with privilege are already at without having to do anything. And so it's important that we are consciously amplifying those kind of voices. And so maybe something like a sort of solution-focused young people's group or whatever, I don't know, can't really think of a catchy acronym at the moment, but something like that might be a sort of way to go about that,
And there's I think in before lockdown, Will, I was kind of one of those that felt, you know what, this tech is just separating people from each other in that human way. And I'm kind of thinking, this is terrible. We have parents can't get kids off tech, causing all sorts of issues. And then when lockdown came, I thought, thank God for tech. So it's like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but that human closeness for me still is I guess the main way, but we've got to use technology more to our advantage because it's there and we've got to use it. And parents, I think a lot of the parents that we speak to are so concerned that their young people just seem to have this thing glued to their face. So it's I can see both sides now. Before I would have been totally against it, but now no, because I wouldn't have met you, I wouldn't have met Tara, I wouldn't have met all the wonderful people that I've met. I think we can utilize this platform more for sure.
I think it's a really powerful thing, and it's about sort of, I guess, not being afraid of it. But again, it's not letting that dominate. That's the kind of thing, because there is still something really lovely and something I'm still waiting to go to my sort of first Solution Focused in-person conference. There's something, there's a charm about that, and there's something that can't be replicated over Zoom,
And bringing loads of young people.
Yeah.
But then we'd actually have to wear jeans or trousers or skirts instead of our PJ bottoms.
You caught me out.
I'm always in jeans and t-shirt anyway, so it makes no difference.
Oh, I've come to work in my pajamas before, Fekas are the best. You should join. I'm always up. You should join Fekas. I will invite you to the next Feka. Have you ever joined?
I don't think Will has. I have. Yeah, it's good.
I love Fekas. I'd probably say 40% of us are in our PJs.
Sunday morning, Will. 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
Sunday morning today.
That's why I haven't gone that often.
Yeah.
No, I'll definitely come along, but I can't guarantee I'll be in anything very snazzy. I'll probably be in my pajamas.
So what's the plan in the next little bit of future for you, Will? What are you hoping to achieve, to start?
Well, I've now got a couple of thoughts of things to do, which is this Solution Focused Young People's group or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Plus this.
We'll help, won't we, guys?
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah. Plus this little journal of my Solution Focused learnings, which I can add to as I go. So I've got those two things to add to my already slightly busy schedule. But I think I just want to get. I'm looking at a uni degree now, but again, I think I want to go in there and sort of blow on about SF at unis. I am not gonna shut up wherever I am. I'm gonna try and get SF in it, because I'm not sure that's a good thing, but I will just try and do whatever I can in my bubble to get people knowing about SF and try and find those people who have that passion for it, you know.
And Will, I'm thinking, and we have talked a little bit about it before, but not for, you know, I mean, you could do it on your own, but coming and delivering training with me in schools, I think
I'd love to do that.
I think we should, yeah.
No, that'd be fantastic, because actually, as we were talking today, I did think about the idea of going into schools and delivering solution-focused training. And again, it's that notion of actually seeing yourself represented back at, you know, seeing another young person speaking.
Yeah.
And that's
I
the
think
ideal.
I think we have to do that. Yeah.
That's the thing. You know, when you're talking about sort of bringing young people into that conversation, it can be difficult, but actually having a young person talking about that, and actually having young people talking about what you're talking about, carries so much more gravitas.
Yeah, and teachers hearing that, you know, hearing it from your perspective. Yeah.
And again, I keep saying it's not about young people just dominating the conversation. It's about young people being brought to an equal playing field, working together. Exactly.
It's a collaboration, and when something's static, when change doesn't happen organically, then it kind of always falls back, in my opinion. So I think you guys kind of coming in, working alongside us, not only do we learn, you guys learn as well. You also learn what not to do, which is still a learning curve. And, you know, going back however many years when SF first started, thanks to Tara making me do that PowerPoint, it was very different. And I'm going to keep going on about that PowerPoint. It was completely. Well, I can refer back to it now. So for anyone that wants to study Solution Focused, please go to Solution Focused Trainers. It's a fantastic group. They make you work, but you get so much out of it. So much out of it. It was the best thing we ever did. And part 3 is coming up for us soon, isn't it, Tara?
It is.
I haven't forgotten. But yeah, and I think
we'll drag Will into that too.
Oh, brilliant! And I think you know, having a platform, a blog or social media for specifically young people and their parents to kind of just refer to, where you can have the expertise of Tara, you can have us on there, you can Susie on there, you're on there, until you start training and leading up younger people than we are to take over, who can join you. To do like short little videos and stuff. It's just so cool. The world is your oyster.
Yeah.
And you're such an inspiration.
Oh, bless you.
I'm gel.
If he was here, Will would be pinching your cheeks.
Oh God, I'd be pinching.
Something to that effect. That's what we're like. That's how we roll here, mate.
We're from Enfield. That's what happens.
Yeah. Proper gangsters in Enfield.
Pinch my cheeks when I come.
Of course. Yeah. So because I think schools is such a fertile ground. It's such a brilliant place to be. I've worked in there for years, always inspired by young people and how they overcome such difficulties. And schools a lot of schools, I'm not saying all, just seem to be so, you know, it's punishment. We have to punish people. If they do something wrong, we have to punish them. And I just hope that listening to you, that they're going to maybe think there's a different way. What would you say to head teachers who are listening to this?
Well, that's a difficult one, because what we needed and what we were lucky enough to have was buy-in from SMT, you know, the senior management team at our school to really bring this in. And it is about that paradigm shift, just allowing possibility for young people, because it rather than just punishing them until change happens, because that never, you know, really never carries results. Rather, it goes the other way. I would say it's probably more negative than actually has results. Actually, just giving a young person a chance to be respected and that chance to have their voice heard and to listen to them, and to just respect them, I think. And that's not, you know, I don't know what I'd say to head teachers. I'd just say, it is about just really allowing young people to just work alongside you, because we all want to come out of school, we all want to work together, we all want to sort of have a good time at school, and all the it sounds all wishy-washy. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I guess.
But yeah, I think most young people want to achieve when they come out of school. They want to be the best that they can be, and sometimes if we only focus on punitive and don't focus on what their strengths are, it's a shame. It's a crying shame, really.
Because strength always exists. You know, I know something Tara says. Even if there's one lesson a week where you might be enjoying the lesson, well, what difference does, you know, what's different in that lesson that enables you to enjoy it or whatever? And it's about amplifying that, and that's just a different way to go about it, rather than punishing for all other 49 lessons that you're not doing well in. It's just it seems silly not to, really, because punishment is, I don't want to say it's archaic. It's just a difficult. I don't know. It's a bit of a minefield. I don't want to offend people by saying you should not do this, you should not do that. But I just think that being open to trying different ways, because if you've seen that you keep punishing the same person and nothing happens, well, why are you still doing it? You know, try a different way.
And I know from
very blunt.
Well,
I love it.
Yeah, but from my experience and Aisha's experience working in schools, I know that probably if you're a head of year or someone like that, if you're spending like 90% of your time telling someone what they've done wrong and only 10% of the time telling them what they've done right, I think there's something wrong. There's definitely something wrong with that. We will go into great detail about what they've done wrong and the consequences of that. But how much time do we say, do you know what, that piece of work, that was stupendous. And this is how it made me feel when you made that piece of work.
That's it.
Spend as much time praising as you do admonishing.
And if we focus on what difference it will make to people's self-efficacy, to how they believe in themselves, you know, I mean, if we come from that perspective where we're really humanizing our interactions and caring about how these young people feel about themselves.
Yeah.
And I think I can't necessarily say I know it, but from a teacher's perspective, I would think it would be a nicer experience as well, because you wouldn't be just punishing someone all the time. You'd be actually reflecting back some kind of positive things that they've been done, and see the kind of reaction and see the smile on the face and see the almost in the lift in the body language, and just think, oh, they've noticed that I've done that. It just has that two-way street. It's not necessarily all about young people. It can have that impact for teachers as well, I think.
Definitely. Yeah.
My body language has been uplifted. Have you noticed? Quite energized.
Will, when we see each other in person, I suggest you run.
Yeah. Or just go like that, Will. Just go.
Joe and I are going to be like, oh, young man running after you. Like, oh, it's all Will. And we don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
We will embarrass you.
Oh, I don't care.
But it's been an absolute pleasure.
No, thank you very, very much.
And refreshing.
Thank you, because it is this kind of thing that is really that example of giving young people that platform and listening to young people. So this is the kind of thing that is really paving the way, I think, in my humble opinion.
In your humble opinion, but I've already had 2 people ask me for your email address because they would like to interview you on their blogs.
Oh, crikey.
I did not ask for your permission. I shared your email address.
You've got
Do not do. Anyone working under GDPR legislation goes out the window. But I have shared it. You have a few admirers out there going, wow, how refreshing, how brilliant. which is why my head's been down answering messages. It's all about you, but it's answering messages.
Oh, thank you.
So you will see an email and one email coming hopefully tomorrow into your inbox, and one of them being butterflies and rainbows.
I have, yes.
With rainbows. She'll kill me if I don't say it right. Butterflies with rainbows.
I'm looking forward to it.
Any last words, Tara and Joe?
Oh, it's been such a lovely hour. It's flown by. It's so nice to see someone so enthused by it, and I'm going to go around and talk about SF until people listen, and that's amazing. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Tara, for being here with us again. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Will, I'll just get all gushy and start crying, but you know how I feel about you, and and like I said, you inspire me continually, and I feel very privileged to be here with you, and you too.
And you too. So we all love each other. Group hug from here. And that's it for tonight. Next week we have Chris Ward joining us with a fantastic co-host. Chris is wonderful. We're actually fully booked until August. But yeah, we've got quite a few fantastic people joining us. But Chris Ward will be joining us next week, 7 p.m. on a Wednesday. But for us, it's good night. And can I just ask you guys to stay behind for a couple of seconds so we can say bye together? And everybody else, see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.